Like, there's so much going on in my brain right now. Hey guys, it's Lizzie. So my bedroom right now is a mess. I just got back from California and I haven't cleaned it up yet, and I'm actually glad you guys are seeing this because I feel like I'm really deceptive in my videos, like making my bed all pretty with my pillows and like nothing's on the floor and everything looks so nice, because that's like not representative at all of like how I am. Like, I'm really clean, but I'm so messy. Today I feel like this morning I woke up and like this all throughout the morning I felt like I was drunk. Whenever I like fly a lot, I get jet lag. When I was flying back to East Coast, I went to a manic episode and then I wasn't working out because I was traveling, and so then I was in depression for like 3 or 4 days. I didn't eat for like 30 hours or something, because when I'm in depression sometimes I just do not eat, and so then I was like starving this morning and it was just like so incredibly painful and I was like dizzy. The other thing contributing to all of this is I just upped my medicine dosage from like 200 to 300, and that makes you dizzy and feverish as well. I'm going to talk all about like my experience with different antidepressants and mood stabilizers. I actually like, this whole experience has been like super confusing and I've spent dozens of hours like researching everything. It's like being thrown into this ocean and just being super confused, like where you are, what's going on, and there's no one really there. I'm just gonna go through chronologically all the drugs that were prescribed to me and everything about them. When I was diagnosed with major depression, not bipolar yet, I was put on Wellbutrin, and I think I went up to 60 milligrams. I didn't have any side effects going into it. It ended up not working at all. So after 3 weeks, my psychiatrist switched me to Prozac, which also didn't have any side effects going into it. The one thing that happened when I was switching from Wellbutrin to Prozac is that like the day I stopped taking Wellbutrin, I didn't taper down. I was supposed to just like stop taking it. There was like one day which was like super awful emotional. I don't know how to explain it, but it was just like really intense confusion, despair, and I was just like crying randomly. So that was for a day. So when you just go off a drug, there was like an emotional withdrawal, and this is the only emotional one I've had. Most of the other ones are like physical withdrawal. So Prozac was great. After taking it for 3 weeks, it just like kicked in one day, and that day was in months. It was like the first time I felt truly alive. It was like this depression film was like removed from my eyes and I was back to myself, and everything was like colorful and vibrant, and I was like actually happy, like genuinely laughing and stuff. It was amazing. And for the rest of the summer, Prozac, it worked like decently well. I think I was on 90 milligrams, so I think maybe if I had gone up to a higher dosage, it would have really stabilized me. I was in Thailand that summer with my friend Al, and we were working out every day. I wasn't eating that healthy, but I found that every few days I would be sort of depressed. Like, I would notice like when I would leave a room, like I'd be smiling and then immediately like that. And then there were some days when I just like wanted to go be alone in a room, like I wanted to be away from people. So point being, the Prozac did not fully work for me. Like, it definitely lifted my depression, like huge difference. I was in really debilitating depression before the Prozac worked, in that like I would be in bed, laying in bed all day and just like not able to focus even on like YouTube videos or like TV shows, just like laying there, like boredom and too exhausted, no motivation to even like eat. So I'd just be like crying at the end of the night because I was so hungry, but I like couldn't make food. It was pretty awful. So the Prozac got me up from that to like a lot better, and it wasn't like ideal, it wasn't the best, but it was really great. So once I realized I had bipolar, I went on Lithium. Was the first mood stabilizer I went on. I love Lithium so much. It was the first drug for bipolar I took, so like the first mood stabilizer, and it was so emotionally validating because I knew I had bipolar before it was like officially diagnosed. And it's one of those things where it's kind of sketchy to self-diagnose and people are like, oh, you're being like a hypochondriac, but I knew I had bipolar. The other reason I love Lithium so much is just like this like emotional like comfort from Lithium is because the first 3 elements that like form the entire universe are hydrogen, helium, and lithium. It's in every single star, every planet, galaxy, and I think that's absolutely amazing. And it's so cool to me that like at the beginning of time, like God created this element that is now like stabilizing my brain. I love that so much. So in the fall semester of 2015, so the fall semester of my senior year of college, I was in depression like the whole time. I don't know why I avoided treatment. It was a bad decision. I would go manic every like 3 weeks, and it was really short episodes but pretty intense. So like, well, hypomanic, but like intense for my type of bipolar. But it'd be anything from like 6 hours to like a day and a half or 2 days, where I would just like spike up. And when I was in these manic episodes, I was just like super creative, and I could finally like get all my homework done, and I was like so happy, stoked, so much energy. And my sleep was really interesting. If you guys know not circadian rhythms, REM cycles, it would be 3 REM cycles. So I would sleep for 4.5 hours, and then literally like at the 4.5 hour mark, I would wake up and be, you know, start my day. What I love about Lithium is that it works very fast. So within like a week, you'll notice a difference. So every 3 weeks I'd spike up to manic, and then that was really, I mean, it was like really nice mania, like it was fine, but then it would crash down into the worst depression where I would just feel like disconnected from the world, and like I was this phantom or ghost and like not actually existing, which is just really scary place to be. And so the Lithium, it kicked in with like a week, and my manic spike at the time, it like significantly lessened. And then like a week later, when I was up to like the full dosage of Lithium, it was gone. So that was like really cool, because that like intense depression was really bad, and so it didn't really lift my depression, but it prevented the manic from going into depression. I didn't realize when I was filming, but I talked about all these drugs in a really negative light, and that's because I'm specifically talking about the side effects tapering on and off them. These are all drugs that ended up working for me, and I thought it was like self-explanatory that like I love them, but in case it doesn't come off like that, like the effects of the drugs outweigh any symptoms that happen, but the symptoms are really bad. I feel like my last semester of college, I was sick like I'd say like 60% of the time because of the side effects of these drugs. You have to taper onto drugs gradually, and so you'll take one and then you'll up in 2 weeks. So like, you know, every other week basically I was getting the side effects from the new drug. You have to do like several blood tests when you first go on Lithium, and it's a drug that can seem kind of scary just because the toxicity, like if you have too much in your blood, it can like destroy your brain and your nervous system, which sounds really scary, but it's okay because you get tested, and when you're at the right dosage, you're not gonna like randomly like change from that. And so once you're like stabilized on it, you're good. And if it happens that you start going into like the toxic level, you'll start having visible signs like hand tremors, and then you can fix it. So it's not going to just like, you know, randomly like destroy your brain. Since Lithium is a salt, it dehydrates you, so you have to be constantly downing water like all the time, whether I'm in class, hanging out with friends, doing my homework, editing a video, just like constantly downing water. I always had a water bottle with me, and I'm pretty sure like everyone knows this, but the color of your pee, it needs to be like clear, and so always just like check to make sure like you're staying hydrated. Another annoying thing about Lithium is that it gives you acne. My face has just been like a mess like this whole year, and I had a ton of like mini like pimple bumps like all over like the back of my thighs, and then also, you know, all over my face. And I have this really cool medicine prescribed by my dermatologist, and it's called tretinoin cream. It's basically like a fight with my face, where like right when I get a pimple, I apply this at night for 2 days, then the 3rd day I do Neosporin, and then it's basically gone. But the acne scars are what is really awful, and I wear makeup every day, so I would just get, I just recommend getting really good foundation and concealer. I use Urban Decay's Naked foundation, and it works amazing. Another really good acne tip to prevent it from getting out of control is to drink boiled water. I don't know why it works, but it's like a miracle thing for me. Whether you have an electric kettle or just like a teapot on your stove, honestly just like a pot, just like boil water for the day. And if you're out at a restaurant, you can ask for hot water instead of iced. And if you're in like your school cafeteria, just get like water from the tea place and just like don't get a tea bag but get water, and it's free. So it's pretty easy to drink hot water, and that's my best advice for dealing with the acne. Honestly, like if you're really turned off by any of these symptoms, I think you're bipolar. Like it must not be that bad, because this is something that's like so awful and debilitating to your life that like literally like I would rather have acne like the rest of my life, really bad acne scars, to like get this in check and get it stabilized. Something else that I forgot to include about lithium, it raises your body temperature like permanently when you're on it. And so usually I'm the person who's always so cold, like I always am bringing sweaters everywhere I go, or like even blankets places. And when I was on lithium, my body temperature was like a few degrees warmer than everyone around me, so I was constantly hot. Every time you increase your lithium dosage, don't work out for a couple days after. If you're taking care of your bipolar or depression, then you're working out almost every day and doing cardio. So I usually run a couple miles on the treadmill every other day, and don't do that. If you've just upped your dosage of lithium, you'll feel really faint and like almost pass out. Like even weightlifting kind of messed me up a couple times, where like allow a lot of time between sets. Don't just kind of like rush through your workout. Like give yourself a lot of time if you're newly on lithium. And the same goes for Duloxetine and Lamictal, which I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. There were several times where I almost passed out in the gym and I had to miss class because I was like so like dizzy, nausea from that. So just be really careful with the gym. Something else about lithium that my psychiatrist did not warn me about is that your vision, if you're driving at night, is messed up. So just do not drive if you're on lithium, and just don't drive on any of these medicines. Or if you're having depressive or manic symptoms, I've DD'd several times with my friends, and it's like terrifying, like so many like almost crashes, and it's just like really terrifying. So just be really, really careful with driving. Make sure you're like 100% stabilized. So I added Duloxetine, which is an antidepressant, with my lithium. The side effects going into it, it's the same, like you feel really dizzy and, you know, fatigue, feverish. And the first day I went on it, I had like really anxiety dreams. Like I was in like a bathroom, and then like this huge dog with like huge teeth and like crazy fur, and, like I was in the corner, and the dog was like running towards me and like barking, and like the teeth were moving, and he almost like swallowed me kind of thing. And then like I woke up, and it was really terrifying, just like an image you can't really forget. And also I just had anxiety, which I never really experienced before with my depression, but I had really bad anxiety the day I went onto it, just where I was like worrying about everything and like doubting all my life and everything and feeling like insecure sort of. And then the next day it was like that anxiety as well. And Megan Mace, she's a YouTuber, she talked about how naps are really important with anxiety, and I hadn't watched her video like at this time, but I just like my body naturally like just like took a nap for a few hours, and I felt a lot better with the anxiety. I only had the anxiety for like 2 or 3 days, so that was fine. Once I was on Duloxetine, I had to taper onto it, and I think 90 milligrams was like my final dosage, and it did lift my depression, not all the way though. When I was on Duloxetine, it changed my mood phases, so I would be depressed for 2 weeks, and then the 3rd week I would be either like normal or sort of hypomanic-ish. I'm not really sure which it was. The depression was still really bad though. I was exhausted, a lot fatigued, my mind was slowed down, I wasn't at my full brain power, motivation was really low. Then my psychiatrist added on Lamictal or Lamotrigine, those are like the 2 names for it. And this was like this was like the drug that like got me back to normal. The drug takes so long to taper onto because it can give you this like skin rash that basically like burns your skin from the outside in and like kills you. And I think I tell you guys all of this because like I want you guys to know this, like how bad things can get, because I think it's important to realize like how serious this is, and that you really just like shouldn't mess with your dosages, and that you should, you know, listen to your psychiatrist. But I think you start on like 10 milligrams, then go up to 20, 20, then like 50, then 100. Like you have to go up gradually, and it's like every 2 weeks you change. So, you know, it takes like over a month until you can get on an active dosage that will actually affect your mood. But the worst side effect going into Lamictal is it makes your period so painful. It was like I couldn't fall asleep for like 2 hours because the cramps were so bad, and it wasn't even painful, it was just like constantly, it's just like the first period you have once you start the dosage, and so it's really not a big deal. It's just really annoying at the time, and they recommend that you don't use ibuprofen or Advil when you're on any of these meds, but I didn't find a problem with it. And you can also find like painkiller medicines that don't, I'm just gonna put it here, the kind that you can use. Another thing that is so important to talk to your psychiatrist about is to get the gradual release, no, the slow release form of the drug. I'm someone who has a really healthy diet, and if you work out a lot and you eat like more plant-based lifestyle, then the drugs are just gonna like kick in faster. I feel like one of the reasons the symptoms hit me so intensely is because of my lifestyle, and so if you get the slow release, it doesn't have as intense of like side effects as you're going onto the medicine. So that's everything I wanted to share about the medications I've been on. I hope that it was helpful and helped to calm you down if you're also on any of these meds. And I will link below the playlist I have about all my mental health videos, and I love you guys so much. Bye!